Hello, I'm here at Liverpool's Anglican Cathedral to learn about the work of Edward Carter Preston and his daughter Julia, who created 2 baptismal bowls for the cathedral. We're just standing at the front entrance.
Rankin porch.
The Rankin
porch, yes.
And can you tell me what we're looking at in the statues?
We're actually looking at these statues are all statues representing the parables, and they're all intended to make you think that you should work as hard as your spirituality as these people are working at their occupations. So if we start over here, this one, the first one on our left as we're looking at it, is the housewife who had lost her silver coin, and so she swept the whole house to find it. And this apparently is based, the face of this is based on Mrs. Carter Preston.
Oh, she's got a beautiful face.
She has got a beautiful face, and she's also, unfortunately, got war damage. You can see the damage on her chest, which is from during the war. But she's got a broom and.
That is right where the heart would be as well, isn't it?
More or less.
Wow.
Yes, it is. Those have been carved in a studio, because you can't see the mortar lines going across, so I think these have been carved and then put onto the niches.
So where did these holes appear? Is this the Second World War?
Yes, the Second World War.
And was it fighter pilots flying over?
I don't know what it was really. I mean, people say it's bullet holes, but I can't quite imagine why anybody would be firing bullets at the cathedral.
No.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
So I'm not terribly sure whether, but they are. It is definitely damage from the Second World War. Side, which is the inside of the Welsford porch, the figures represent virtue standing upright and the corresponding vice underfoot. So this one is humility, shown by a man holding a dove. And then at his feet we've got the winged horse, which is the emblem of presumptuous pride. Yes. So it's unusual, I think, to have humility shown by as a man. Humility tends to think of being a woman, female when in representations. Yes. I'm not saying a man can't be showing humility, but yes. It does seem unusual.
I love the way the vices are actually at the feet.
Yes,
of each statue.
Yes, they'll be
and often represented as something smaller and something that could be conquered, perhaps.
Yes, yes, I think that's the idea. Yes, yes. So we're going to the next statue. This one is Bounty. So it's the lady with the basket of, well, I suppose it's more like a cornucopia, but fruits and things, and she's holding it out, offering it to people. And at her feet is the miser, grasping onto his coins, and glaring up at her. So that's avarice. The miser is representing avarice. I love the way he curves his hands round them and he holds on to it. She's being very generous and open, and he's grasping things very tightly. So completely the opposite. This is Temperance. This is one of the ones that's not quite so obvious, I think. Temperance holding her fingers to her lips in order to guard her tongue, I suppose, and her speech. And at her feet we've got a wolf, a voracious wolf. When Julia Carter Preston was in one time with her husband, she was telling me that not only did her father base his figures on people he knew, but that wolf is actually based on the family dog. So he did it for the animals as well as for the people. So that's Temperance.
So did you get to talk to Julia and her husband often?
Yes, they used to come to Evensong on Sunday afternoons. They quite often talked.
And what were they like?
Oh, they were lovely. They were lovely. Unfortunately, when I got to know them, Julia wasn't terribly well. She couldn't walk very well. She was in a wheelchair, but they were lovely. Yes.
Oh, this one's got a monkey.
This one's got a monkey. This is Justice. So the main figure is the blindfolded Justice, with a little model of Justice as well. and she's holding the scales of justice, where you would weigh the evidence, I suppose. But there's a monkey underneath, and he's pushing the scales up on each side, so he's injustice because he's upsetting the balance of the justice. So yes, that's one that children like. They like the monkey. This one is Prudence. So she's actually holding a serpent in her left hand and a book in her right hand, both of which are signs of wisdom. And at her feet is Folly, and that's shown as an old-style jester who's thumbing his nose at people and holding a bladder on a stick, as the old jesters did. So he's Folly. And then we've got Fortitude. This one's slightly unusual in that it's got two things at his feet, but we've got Fortitude holding the lion-headed sword, and then at his feet we've got a dragon on one side, which is evil, and a hare sort of peeping out between his feet, and that's the sign of timidity. This one's Concord. So this is a lady, and she's holding two doves, and beneath her feet is a man with a stick who is trampling corn under one foot, and this is Discord. And then the last one is a lady holding a salamander to her breast, and that's Chastity, because salamander is apparently the symbol of chastity. And at her feet she's got a goat who is actually lying down, but the goat is the sign of lust.
So where are we standing now, Margaret?
Right, we're standing in the baptistry, not up by the font, but looking through the door that leads through to the Rankin porch, and above that is a statue of Christ with children. And Christ is seated, and there are 4 children round him, 3 standing and 1 on his knee. And these are actually based on Edward Carter Preston's children. But Edward Carter Preston's children were all girls. And the little one on the knee of the Christ here is a boy. And that is actually Julia Carter Preston, who was made a boy because her father thought it wasn't right to just have girls round Christ. It needed a boy as well.
Yeah.
So that's Julia sitting on. Julia was the youngest, and she's sitting on the knee of Jesus. Yes.
Were her siblings all artistic as well?
Some of them were, but I think, well, I should imagine they probably all were, but whether they actually earned their living doing art works, I don't know. Yeah. I think at least one of them was an artist.
Yes.
And at least one of them didn't live in this area, because the little girl standing behind the shoulder of Jesus did come as an older lady once to one of the carol services.
Can you tell me what we're looking at?
This is the memorial to Sir Robert Jones, who was an orthopaedic surgeon. He worked in the Southern Hospital at one point. He actually trained Noel Chavasse, who was one of the sons of Bishop Chavasse, and was the gentleman who won the 2 VCs in the First World War, Noel.
And is that who Chavasse Park is named after?
That's who Chavasse Park is named after, yes. But this is the memorial to Robert Jones, and it has been designed and carved by Edward Carter Preston, because his initials are on it up in the top left-hand corner. And it shows a patient on a table having his leg bound by a doctor, and the nurse is standing helping as well. So this is Robert Jones. And the hospital in Garston was Sir Robert Jones Hospital, named after this orthopaedic pioneer.
It's beautiful.
Yes, it is, isn't it? The font itself is made from French marble, and it is a 12-sided font, and on each side is carved one of the apostles, the 12 disciples of Christ, but not Judas. Judas is replaced by Matthias, because there is no depiction of Judas in the cathedral. But each figure has on it, associated with it, something that will tell you who they are. So, for example, St. John has the eagle and St. Peter has the keys. And in the floor around the font, in the marble, we've got fishes and waves. So it's all to do with water and baptism.
Thank you very much, Margaret.
Pleasure.
Very well.